Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis call, and this is for trading on September 4th, 2019. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. As usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our calendar here. So in terms of the data here, we saw that the PMI numbers here have been negative. And especially here for the US, the ISM manufacturing PMI number was below expectations here. The ISM manufacturing PMI number here was below expectations. So we saw a drop in the US dollar as a result of that. And then we've also seen that the tariffs have gone into play. US has put tariffs on Chinese goods, and China has done the same for the US goods. So overall, this was negative for the equities markets as well, because now we are starting to see the impact of tariffs as well. So all this, the PMI numbers being below expectations show that the US is being impacted or being negatively impacted by these tariffs as well. So overall, the equity markets were not happy about this. Investors are a little bit wary now, and we saw US dollar suffer as well. Another thing that came into play today was also Brexit stuff here. So we had talked about Brexit problems or Brexit stuff coming up yesterday as well. And again, today we saw British pound drop quite a bit and then recover from that. So we do need to keep an eye on Brexit negotiations as well. So at this point, we see that the Prime Minister has actually lost the vote. There was a vote in the Parliament, and in order to excuse me. So he has so there was a vote in the Parliament anyway. So the Prime Minister has lost the vote now. So expect there to be more volatility in the British pound as a result of that. And then coming up in the evening here, we have quarterly GDP numbers for Australia here, and then into tomorrow here, into the European session here, we have PMI numbers out of Eurozone. So if the PMI numbers are below expectations, we are likely to see a drop in the euro. And if the services PMI numbers here are below expectations for British pound here, that is likely to cause a British pound drop as well, because these negative numbers will then cause the expectations for the market to expect interest rate cuts. So keep that in mind. And then we have trade balance numbers here for Canada. So if the numbers are below expectations here, this will also have a negative impact on Canadian dollar, and we're likely to see dollar CAD go up as a result. As well as we have trade balance numbers for the US. Again, if they are below expectations here, it will have a negative impact on the US dollar, because that will show that all this trade war is not really making much of a difference in improving the situation in the US for the exports. So this is an important number here as well. And then we also have inflation report hearings for UK here. So these will be important for the British pound, because inflation is, again, one of the indicators or key data points that the central banks look at. So if the inflation is expected to drop or not go up as expected, that could be negative for the British pound here, especially if the expectations, the forecast is reduced or lower. We have one of the FOMC members speaking here. And then we have Bank of Canada rate statement at this point. We're not expecting an interest rate cut, but Bank of Canada has been one of the few banks that have not talked about interest rates cuts at this point. So if we see a change in the stance from Bank of Canada, if the commentary changes, even if it's not about cutting rates, but if they are open to easing the monetary policy, then that will be negative for Canadian dollar, and we could see dollar CAD go up. So keep that in mind. And then we have a bunch of FOMC, couple couple more FOMC members speaking here, and this will be important. We have 3 FOMC members speaking. So we noticed that the FOMC members generally try to give a bit of a preview of how they are thinking and how they're likely to vote. So, so keep an eye on this, because more statements about Fed cutting rates and stuff like that, that could be negative for the US dollar. All right, let's go on to our charts here, which we'll start off with our euro dollar. So yesterday we were looking for a drop in euro dollar here. We did see the price go down into 1.0920, but then it turned around on the negative PMI numbers out of the Eurozone. So here we have a bullish candle, a pin bar here, but we are into we are close to our support resistance level here. If we see that the price stays below 1.10 here, we are likely to see a drop. Or if price stays below today's high and we see a drop, then price is likely to continue with this previous move here. So let's take a look at the hourly chart real quick. So here we can see in the hourly chart, we did see a drop here initially for euro, but then price went up. So currently it's into that support resistance area. So if it stays below this 1.09 or 1.0980 level, then we are likely to see this drop. So keep that in mind. I would look for this drop. So as long as price stays below 1.0980, we could get this drop. However, as soon as we see a break above, I would look for price to go into 1.1030 or all the way into 1.1050 level into there, and then we could see this drop from there. So this move here, this inefficient move, could get filled. Okay, so that's for our euro dollar. Let's move on to pound here. So a bias for euro dollar here is to the upside because of the daily candle close. But the big thing to keep in mind would be if it doesn't break the high of today, we are likely to see a drop back towards 1.0920. Otherwise, if it breaks through, then we could see price go all the way. So in that, if it does break through, then the first target would be a 1.10 and then 1.1030 level. A British pound here, this one was interesting as well. Because of the Brexit uncertainty, we saw that the price dropped initially. It went down like we were expecting. However, it did turn around here as well. So it went just past our second target and then went up. But now keep in mind, now we are into resistance. So even though the candle close today is bullish, I would say we have to be cautious here because we are into this important support and resistance. So if price does not go through, then it can drop again. So for now, bias is bullish because of the bullish candle close. But the first thing to keep in mind would be if it doesn't break through the high of today, then it could drop. But if it does, then we're looking for price to go up higher. So in that case, our targets here, the first target would be 1.2180, and then the second target would be 1.2240. But important thing, again, like I said, is today's high at 1.2120. If price doesn't go through that, then I will look for a price to drop and come test the bottom here. Aussie dollar here, this is looking bullish as well. And again, we did see a drop initially, but then price moved up and we have a bullish candle close here. So this is a bullish engulfing candle, and we have seen price basically all this previous price move, it got negated, and we have a bullish candle close here. Now, we do see that price has been trading in a range here. So this is the range that price has been trading for August, all of August, it stayed in this range. So at this point, we see a rejection of the range. So I would look for price to go back higher, essentially. So bias here is bullish. Price is trading in a range, but bias is bullish. The first target here would be 0.6 0.6800, second 0.6820. So basically looking for price to go towards the top of this range. So bullish bias for Aussie dollar. New Zealand dollar, same thing here. Yesterday we had an indecision candle. Initially price dropped, but now we have a bullish candle close here. So we have a bullish engulfing candle. So bias is bullish here and looking for price to go up further towards 0.6365. So that's our first target. And then the second target here would be 0.6400. But again, do keep in mind we are very close to the resistance here. If price does not go through 0.6350, it could still drop here because we are into an important support resistance level. So that's the caveat, but overall bias is bullish and I'm looking for price to go higher towards 0.6365 and then 0.6400 level. Dollar CAD here. Dollar CAD has been quite volatile today. We saw price went all the way up and through the high, but then dropped back down. So price is still trading in this range here. It hasn't managed to stay out of the range. It did test it twice, but it failed twice. So now the bias still remains to the downside here because of the big pin. But one thing to keep in mind would be that price is pushing into this resistance here. And if it holds above, then we are likely to see price move up higher. So I would be cautious with that. If price goes through 1.3350, we're looking for price to go all the way into 3380 level there, into the high. But otherwise, I would look for a bit of a pullback here and then a drop. So we could see, so bias is bearish here. And this is the move I would look for. I'm looking for price to drop here. But like I said, if it goes through the high here, through this level here, 1.3350, then we're likely to see it go higher into 1.3380 and potentially all the way into a 1.3420 level. So for now, bias is bearish for dollar CAD. And the first target here is 1.3280. Or actually, that should be the second target. First target would be back into 1.3320. Second target, 1.3280. Okay, silver here has gone through the roof. We saw that price has broken through our support level here. So now we need to go find out what our next target is. So at this point, okay, so that's our big target, but let's see what do we have here. Okay, so bias is bullish. Next target is 19.67. If it goes through that, 19.90 and then 20. So silver here, bias is bullish for silver. Gold here, gold is looking quite bullish here as well. We see that initially price has gone sideways, then it pulled back and made another move up. So now it's pulled back and now making another move up here. So for this, bias is bullish. And then we are looking for next level here for our target. So let's take a peek. Okay, so let's see what we got. So first target is 1563. So bias is bullish here for our gold. Okay, so the first target is 1564 and then 1588. So bullish bias for gold. Oil has dropped quite a bit today with all the uncertainty and everything. So bias is bearish here. First target here will be 52.60, then 52.20. So for gold, bias is bearish. Copper, this is interesting. We have an inverted doji. Price dropped and then it got pulled back up. So for now, bias is bullish. Next target is 2.54. So bullish bias for copper. Bitcoin here, Bitcoin yesterday we were looking for a move higher, we got that. So here now we have a bullish candlestick. So our bias here for tomorrow is to the upside here. 11,400 will be the target. So bullish bias here for Bitcoin. S&P 500, today we have an indecision candle here. So we have a small candle body and pins on both sides. That shows indecision, which means a price could go in either direction. It could go down, come back, or it could go back up and then come down from there. So for now, bias is neutral for S&P 500. NASDAQ here, this one is so NASDAQ is also trading in a range. Today's candle close isn't too exciting. We have a neutral candle close here. So in this case, if we see that price goes lower, then the target here would be 7,900. So our target here is 7,900. Sorry, 7,500, 7,498, so 7,500, but be open to move in either direction because bias is neutral today. DAX here, DAX is neutral. We had talked about how price was in this level here, at this level in this range. So right now, what we're going to do is look for a pullback into 11,850. If it holds above, then we're looking for a move higher. So looking for a retest or back test of 11,850. If it holds above, then looking for a move higher. Otherwise, if it comes back into the range, then we are back. For now, though, bias is neutral for DAX here. UK FTSE here. FTSE did drop a bit here. It seems to be having a bit of trouble going through this resistance level. So be careful here. So we could see another drop here back towards our 7220 area. So watch out for that. Bias is bearish here for FTSE. Last but not least, we are into our Nikkei. Nikkei has a small candle bodies and pins on both sides, giving us a neutral bias here. So overall, this one can go in either direction, but just be careful. So bias is neutral. And that is it. All right, you guys have a wonderful trading day tomorrow, and I will see you again in the evening. Bye for now.